Oh, good morning everyone. We've come out for a proper walk. I've headed out nice and early so that I can avoid as many people as possible, especially during the early part of the walk where I'm in the middle of Telford. Nice wide path for this part of the walk anyway, until I get out into the more rural areas. This is the Silken Way I'm on here. So yeah, going for a long one today. Gonna get a few miles under the boots. Does feel good to get the boots back on. I'll come back to you, tell you a bit more when we get into a bit more rural setting. It's going to be a scorcher of a day. Absolutely cracking. That's why I've dug the old hat out of the wardrobe. I don't know why I haven't worn it before really. For an outing like this, you won't have seen this hat on Wild Astro before. It's all a bit Abbey Barnes, isn't it? But there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm on the Silken Way at the moment. Silken Way is a bit of a path, not a bit of a path, it's a major public right of way that runs all the way through Telford, down into the Ironbridge Gorge and onward. And we're making our way all the way down into the Ironbridge Gorge today and hanging a right along the Ironbridge Gorge towards the town of Ironbridge. At which point we will do our very best to avoid any busy areas. I'm not going to go across the bridge today, although I'll try and get a bit of footage of it for those of you who aren't familiar with the Ironbridge. It's a fantastic little national heritage site. And then we'll carry on up the Ironbridge Gorge towards Buildwas Power Station, and then onwards towards the little town of Much Wenlock. There's a couple of little patches of woodland there that I want to have a little wander around with a view to potential future wild camping spots. We may string the hammock between a couple of trees there and have lunch, or we may just find somewhere shady to sit ourselves down. Before turning around and coming home. All in all, it's about 17-18 miles that we're going to be travelling today, which will most likely take its toll on the feet because I'm quite out of practice. So we'll see. I've just got to make my way along a length of main road, so I'll come back to you shortly. Still on the Silken Way. The road to my right has dropped down into the valley now, and we'll be doing that shortly as well. I'll bring you back when we're riverside. We're just about to pass under the Great Hay Incline, which, for those of you not familiar with the Ironbridge Gorge and the industry that used to happen here, it's an inclined plane that was used to move coal and other materials from the furnaces to our right, which I'll show you in a minute, up to a higher point of the valley. Well, between two canal networks essentially. There's a set of canals low down next to the river, and there's a set of canals higher up that was used to access the surrounding area. The incline plane has still got its railway tracks installed on it, and it's one of the nice little heritage sites that's been left within the Ironbridge Gorge for everyone to come and explore. So I'll show you a different angle of that in just a moment. So we emerge from the Silken Way down in the gorge here at the Shakespeare Inn. Very, very nice place for an evening meal or lunch if you happen to be in the area. The incline plane passes, so you can see the two sets of tracks there, and what they would do is they'd use the weight of the heavier car at the top to help pull the car up from the bottom. There'd be a big wheel up at the top there, mounted horizontally with a huge cable attached to two carriages, and they go up and down all day, and they'd be moving material from canals up high to canals down low. And down to canal side here just happens to be where we're heading. Now, when I was a kid, this is where I would come to collect those boys you can see just down there. Tadpoles. And further down that way, at the end of that canal, are the furnaces that I was talking about, that the materials were carried up the incline plane. And then here we've got a little footbridge that we're going to head across over the River Severn. The beautiful River Severn. And it is an absolutely stunning day to be out and about. At the other side of the bridge here is another of the Ironbridge Gorge's lovely pubs. This is the Boat. Just the other side of the trees here. The Boat Inn there. Sad thing about the Boat Inn is that for a lot of months of the year it has to be closed because it regularly gets flooded out by the river, and flooded in a big way. It's very, very low down, and a lot of the buildings I'm about to walk past suffer the same every year. Shout out Moore's Craft Centre. Hope you guys are all doing okay. All of the little businesses and artisan shops that are in there. Hope you're managing to get through this lockdown okay. Okay, so one of the next buildings we arrive at, travelling upstream, is this one. This is the Half Moon Inn. This is one of my favourites. I do like the Half Moon Inn. It's a lovely, lovely pub, well worth coming to for lunch, right on the riverside, and if you feel so inclined, if that's your thing, you can actually fish from here within 20 metres of a pub that serves fantastic ales and really, really good food. So that's well worth a visit, especially if you're a fisherman. Moving on. And here's Jackfield Tile Works. Decorative tiles. Nice little cafe and coffee shop in there. That's well worth a visit too. It's just a lovely, lovely part of Shropshire for a day of wandering around, chilling out and enjoying yourself. Right, we've just dealt with one of the busier areas and another stretch of road that I've had to contend with, and we're just joining the next leg of local paths. Now this is the Strawberry line. This is an old railway line, and they've left these here as a little bit of a memorial to that, and they've left the crossing gates over the road there too. Nice little spot. The Strawberry line was a railway line that used to feed the Coalbrookdale power station back in the day, and in that direction it went as far as Bridge North and beyond, I believe, downstream. In this direction, well, in a few minutes time I'll show you how far in this direction it went, because we're heading all the way along the Strawberry line to the point where it enters the Coalbrookdale power station site. Another nice pub on the right hand side here, nestled down against the riverside again. This is the Black Swan. Again, another lovely little local spot to come to. My knowledge of the pubs around here is pretty good. In fact, in the direction we came from, there is another one further downstream that way called the Woodbridge, where my youthful endeavours used to begin most weekends, and then I'd make my way upstream, coming this way until I got into Ironbridge itself. This is one of the old station platforms, I guess, of the Strawberry line, where they would load and unload. There was so much industry down here along the Ironbridge Gorge back in the day. All of these sort of arteries for getting materials in and out were very, very heavily used. It must have been a very different place, completely different to the feel, the peaceful kind of feel that it has now. It would have been a very, very interesting time to be alive. Right, apologies folks. We've had to divert a little bit from the Strawberry line because it looks like they're working on a gas main under it. So we've had to hop up the valley side to one of the little roadside walkways here. We'll be back down next to the river again shortly. I'll bring you back when we arrive at our next sort of point of interest, which is the Ironbridge itself. Okay, just dropping back down onto the Strawberry line now. It runs through this car park, which is one of the main car parks serving the town of Ironbridge. It joins on our right hand side here. You can see all this heavy machinery. So they're doing some work on a gas main back there somewhere, and we're going this way. Anyone who hasn't been to Ironbridge for a long time but has been before will immediately notice that the bridge used to be black and isn't anymore. It is now this rust red colour. And they've done that because that is the colour the bridge would originally have been. Being made of iron, it would have rusted and oxidised, and it would have turned red. So there it is. There's the Ironbridge. Interestingly, it used to be more or less flat. You can see those cyclists making their way up it, struggling on the uphill. The bridge itself used to be almost completely flat, but the valley sides have pressed in and pushed the middle of the bridge up. And to mitigate that, what they had to do was build an almost mirror image of the shape of the bridge in reinforced concrete that runs under the river like that. So the whole bridge itself is actually a circle with a great big reinforced concrete piece underneath to hold the valley sides out. This is the town of Ironbridge itself, nestled on the valley side. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous little town. And I imagine there's some local businesses really suffering during this lockdown. I hope they manage to pull through, because it's a great place to come. Okay, so to the end of that car park, there is the bridge itself. We're not going over there today though. We are staying this side of the river and making our way back onto the Strawberry Line. So there you go, we've come from this direction over here. Here's the bridge, and we're now going to make our way along here all the way until we head up the footpath towards Benthall Edge and the top of the Severn Gorge. We're coming into a very special area for me now, because Benthall Edge, all of this land, the valley side on our left here, was my stomping ground as a boy. So from the time I was allowed out of the house on my own, all of this to my left, the fields above, Benthall Hall, Broseley Wood, all that sort of area was where me and my friends came mountain biking, den building, and just wandering around on hot days. So just as a little aside, I mentioned in a recent video about my diagnosis that stopped me from getting out, and I've spoken to my doctor and specialist, and they've suggested that as long as I observe some extreme social distancing measures, mean I have to sort of double the distance that I stay from everyone else and that sort of thing, then I'm okay to come out for walks like this. Now we are reaching the point now where the Strawberry Line, the old railway line, enters the Buildwas power station site. And when we get to this junction here, I really wanted to show you how the site looks now. What I'm going to do is try and find some nice footage of the demolition of the cooling towers, which was quite recent. Okay, so this is our next sort of major junction of ways. Through the gate to the left, that way, is Benthall Hall, Benthall Church, and paths back to down into the Ironbridge Gorge via Bridge Road and Broseley Wood. You can go into Benthall and Broseley that way as well if you want to. The way we're going is this way, which carries on along the top edge of the gorge until it flattens out, and eventually we reach Much Wenlock and beyond if you want to carry on that way, but the town of Much Wenlock more or less signals the halfway point of our route today. So thankfully it becomes a little flatter along here now, much nicer. Not that that path up through Benthall Edge Wood isn't lovely, but it's constant steady inclines like that are hard work. So here we go. So we've emerged from Benthall Edge woodland. On the tree line there is the path that would have taken us to Benthall Edge, Benthall Hall, Benthall Church, etc. But we've emerged into this lovely little paddock. Just making my way over a stile here, folks, and I've just realised that on the horizon, in that direction, there is the first little patch of woodland that I want to explore. For its wild camping properties. So that's our first look at our destination. So that's where we've come from, and that eventually brings us out here to the little hamlet of Wyke. See the fields of Shropshire turning yellow over there. One of my favourite times of year. And we're heading this way. So a little section of road, and then we should take a left turn shortly back into the fields. There's our target woodland again. One of my favourite kinds of view in Shropshire. The yellow rapeseed fields. Ah. I've missed this. Okay, so the wind's starting to get up a little bit, so I hope you can hear me. I wanted to take a moment to thank a few people. And this thank you is one that is very much of the times, because the lockdown seems to have brought out the worst in quite a few people, and there are some Facebook groups that have become quite unpleasant places to be because of that. But there are some groups who are doing a very, very good job of maintaining the peace. discouraging the controversial posts about whether we should be out camping or not. People almost deliberately looking for a fight. So there's 3 groups in particular, well 4 actually, that I'd really like to thank for the admin managing to keep the peace and really minimise the amount of backbiting and negativity that goes on in the groups. The first of them is Outdoor Adventures. Kenzie Jade over there is great. She does a lovely job of looking after that group and keeping it positive. Head over there and get yourself involved in the raffle that's going on at the moment to win a night in a glamping pod over in the Lake District. I think that's still on. Kenzie, if it's not, if I'm too late for that, I do apologise, but you're doing a great job with that group. Keep it up. The second group I want to mention is Great Outdoors TV. Joss has made it very clear what his thoughts are and makes sure that his group members abide by that and are gently but firmly dissuaded from causing trouble there. Nice work, Joss. Great Outdoors TV remains a great place to be. Third is Dave Outdoors, his own group, his own Facebook page and group. Again, just like Joss, does a really good job of keeping things positive over there. Shares all of his videos, his films, his outings. Brilliant job keeping it positive, keeping everyone happy. Nice work, Dave. And finally, the big player is Wild Camping UK. Now, whatever your thoughts are on Wild Camping UK, they've done a very, very good job of making absolutely clear what their feelings are about the current lockdown situation. Pete and the team over there are of one mind, it has to be said. They are very, very much singing from the same song sheet. And they don't take any messing around, as I'm sure you'll know if you've got on the wrong side of any of them. Like it or not, they do a very good job of moderating that group, which is now approaching, well, it's well over 50,000 members now, and it is not an easy thing to do. So well done, Pete Hargreaves and all of the Wild Camping UK team. Everyone else, we need to try and keep the positivity, folks, because we all want the same thing. We all want to get back out. We all want to get those tents out again. We all want to get back to the things that we love to do. But guys, bitching and being spiteful to each other ain't the way. It's not the way. We're in these groups because we all have similar interests. We all want similar things. But we're not all the same. Just remember that. Be decent to each other. We're all people. Okay, looks like I've got another little section of track, farm track to negotiate here. So we're getting very close to our woodland and lunch, so I'll be back with you very shortly. Okay, so we've made it to the edge of this first little bit of woodland. The second bit is over there. That's the Wrekin you can see there. So I think I'm going to get nettled to death, but let's have a wander. See if we can find ourselves. Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? Let's go see if we can find ourselves a couple of suitable trees for the hammock and have a spot of lunch and a nice shaded swing. Okay, well, to be honest, it was more brambles than nettles. I think I found myself a nice spot just here between two lovely big beech trees. Looks about right. Let's see what we can set up. So I'm just getting my stove set up to make a coffee, and I remembered there was something I wanted to talk to you guys about. I met a chap recently on Facebook called Liam Gardner, who's been making these using his 3D printer, and what these are is feet for a gas canister. This is the long version of it, which is the one I'm using today, and then there's the short version, which is that one, and they're brilliant. The obvious benefit of these is weight. My standard pot stand weighs about 25 grams. A set of 3 of these weighs about 5 grams. So, you know, if you're into your ultra geeky kind of weight saving, then they're absolutely brilliant. I think Neil's plan is to start an eBay shop with these on. And I'll have a chat with him, and if that is the case, then I'll put a link below in the description to his eBay shop, so that you can potentially get yourself a set of these fantastic pot stand feet. So thanks a million, Liam. They're absolutely brilliant, mate. Happy days. I hope you can hear that. There's a buzzard somewhere. Shh. Can you hear that? I hope so. Brilliant. Oh, it's going to be a struggle not to stay here for a very long time. Well, I'd love to stay all day, but it's about a 9-mile walk home, and I've got things to do later, so it's going to be a lovely night. So I'm thinking about some astrophotography this evening. So I'm going to start the walk home. Left no trace, obviously. Just got to make my way back out of this little patch of woodland now. I think I can see the same way I came in, and yeah, I think I'll be back here. I think if I'd been here a few weeks ago, we'd have been treated to some lovely, lovely bluebells. I'm doing my best not to step on any of the remnants of them now, but they're all over the place. Wow. Yeah, this would have been the spot. They're everywhere. Oh, pigging nettles. Wow. Okay, we're out. We're out. Okay, yeah. We'll do a quick flyby of that second bit of woodland that I wanted to have a look at, and then get on the trail home. It has turned into an absolutely stunning scorcher of a day, and I'm back on a road now. I'm going to follow this back to the Shropshire Way in a mile or so's time. It's a bit up and down, but it's fine. And then I'm going to make a decision whether or not I'm going to hang a right when we get back to that junction at the top of Benthall Edge and take you down past Benthall Church, Benthall Hall, and all the little bits of memory lane that I used to tramp around as a kid. I think that might be nice, but space on my memory card is starting to disappear fast. So between here and there I'll make a decision, and then I'll bring you back. See you in a bit. So I'll be arriving back at the junction in a minute, and the sign has been sent. I've just had the very last suck on my camelback. The water's just run out, so I'm not gonna go past the church and the hall and down memory lane because it's very, very sunny and exposed up there. I'm going to stay under the trees, head back the way I came, and we'll save memory lane for another day. Ooh. Well, this has been lovely, but I'll speak to you again a bit closer to home. Okay, so I'm back down on the nice flat stuff by the river now. It's all pretty much gravel or paved surfaces from here. So here's where I'm going to sign off. Thanks for coming along on this little bimble with me. I consider my reset button lightly pressed today. I think it's been a lovely walk, beautiful day, and that little swing in the woods was very, very enjoyable, very relaxing indeed. But it hasn't given me a fizz like the mountains do, so back to waiting. I hope you've enjoyed this, folks. I certainly have. Give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, ask me a question, whatever you like. There's going to be a few more coming out over the next few days. A couple of astrophotography tutorials, one or two other bits and pieces as well. So feel free to subscribe if you like the sound of what's coming and like what you've seen so far. But for now, this is Richie for Wild Astro, signing off.